pretty much, Upper Marlboro girl, whatever that is. Not that I know, but I kind of lived in Capitol Heights, Maryland when I was first born, and went to a lot of private schools. Then we moved to Kettering, and I lived there all the way through high school in different places, but all in that same area.
I'm from Washington, D.C., and I was raised in Southeast D.C. Alexia and I met. I'm a paramedic in the fire department, and she's a social worker in a hospital. And one day I just happened to be bringing a patient into the hospital, and I noticed her walking through the ER, well, in close proximity to myself, and I noticed that she had a psych tag on.
At that time, I was working as a psychiatric social worker, and I did emergency psychiatric assessments in the emergency room.
I asked her how a person could fail a psych exam after learning that one of my coworkers was terminated for failing a psych exam. And she explained it into great detail. And as she was explaining, I was kind of sitting back, checking her out at the same time. And I'm like, what am I going to come up with to get this lady?
And so when he approached me, like as if any guy approached me at work, I'm always going to be like, okay, hi, but very like boundaries. And so anyway, so he started asking me about my job, which I respected because I really enjoyed doing what I did. So I explained it. And he said that there was someone on his job that had that. And then I started to say, oh, okay, well, maybe this is a valid question.
After she finished explaining, I say to her, well, you never did you never did answer my last question. And she was like, well, what was your last question? And I was like, well, when are you gonna let me take you to lunch?
I was like, what are you talking about? We're talking about what I do for a living. Like, how'd you get there? And so that's when I got a little bit like, okay. But the way he had joined it together kind of like intrigued me a little bit because he really threw me off. And so he asked for my number, I think.
She gave me a number, and I'm telling her, well, if this is a cell phone, don't bother, because I'm not taking a cell phone. I'm not that kind of a guy. It's either the real thing or you can keep it.
Okay, who is this guy? Like, why is he like asking me what I do, then asking me for my number, and then rejecting my number? I was kind of like all in the middle of doing a psych eval. I was like all over the place. And so finally I said to myself, okay. I was mad at myself, but something about me, I was like, all right, just here, take this number. And like, just that's fine. I kind of caved.
She actually gave me what I later learned to be her cell phone number. And I ended up texting her from there, and I eventually did get the home number. So I kind of compromised on my end too, but I thought it was I really thought it was worth it because of how she presented herself as a lady, a real lady, and what I was meeting at that time was not par, not for a caliber guy like myself,
He kind of threw me with that, by taking interest in what I did. And then also when he didn't want to when I said that I wasn't going to give him a certain number, that really kind of impressed me that he was going to be willing to walk away and not have my number. So my initial impression was like, I wanted to maybe know a little more about him.
My thoughts when I first saw Alexia was, I thought she was beautiful. The whole time I was checking her out, and I was like, whoa, she could be mine. I called her and we set up a tentative date, and she counseled on me. I couldn't believe she counseled on me. I made it clear, hey, you counseled on me, and now I don't want lunch. I think I want dinner. I was like, I'm telling her, like, you're not a hood rat, not in my opinion anyway. And you know that you counseled on me, so I want dinner. So the first opportunity you get, let's make it happen. And she made it happen.
The biggest thing with Aaron that I have to say I love the most is that he is so supportive. He's like, honestly, like your biggest fan. You know what I mean? Like if he knows you want something, or if he even thinks you may want something, or he thinks that there's a dream that you're not that you're afraid to even like say that that's possible, like he'll push you to do it. He's like, honestly, probably my #1 fan.
She can be a leader. She is a leader, even when I'm not around. I love that in her. I love her organization skills, because in some areas I'm not so well organized. I love her ability to make me a better man. I love her ability to make me grow as a man and to deal with some of my own issues that most guys deal with but are afraid to say.
Some of the words I would use to describe Aaron are he's very personable, very, very fun-loving, and very family-oriented. Since I've met Aaron and we've been together, people have said things, you just seem so happy, you seem so fulfilled, you know, blah, blah, blah. And I think that's awesome because that's real.
Alexia and I would have to say that we are different in ways where she's more of the frugal person. I'm more of the person that cost doesn't matter.
He doesn't overspend necessarily, and I'm not necessarily cheap, but we're kind of on different ends of that spectrum. Like, I just don't, I'm not one of those kind of, like Aaron always says, if you want it, just buy it, like you live once. And I'm like, I don't feel like I need it though, it's too much money.
Some of the other ways that we are different is she likes store brand stuff. I like the name brand stuff. I kind of feel like for a couple of pennies more, why not get the brand name? I can't eat Walmart brand.
Ketchup or mustard, I think it's all ketchup or mustard. It doesn't have to be Heinz, but Aaron thinks that everything should be name brand.
Babe, we cannot buy this. We cannot continue to buy this.
No,
it's
costs $1 less.
No. You have to look. This is why I look at the news every day. This gives you some type of cancer. This is completely healthy.
No, that's
because
not
it's
the
healthy.
Ketchup you want.
No, but we can't eat this, babe. We can't eat this.
Yes, we have to.
No, we're not eating this. Alexia and I are different in terms of the music that we like.
I'm really not into mainstream music. It really kind of makes me sick to my stomach.
I primarily enjoy R&B music, which is rhythm and blues. Some hip hop, not too much.
I'm very much into like alternative music. And so I always tell him he listens to kids' music. At
times, we may have a little spaz over the radio. So what we do is, if I'm driving, I get to pick and choose. And sometimes I may just make it to the extreme and kind of peek over just to see what her reaction may be.
You ready to roll, babe?
Yeah.
Let me turn on some tunes.
Oh. We ain't listening to that. Nope.
What's this? Oh, no.
Yeah, no, we're going to listen to this instead. No.
You messed the whole trip up.
No, Aaron, not listen to that crap.
I cannot listen to this.
I don't want to listen to that crap today.
We can't do this, baby. Seriously.
No, Aaron, that other stuff is crap.
I can't listen to that. I'm breaking out. I can't listen to this. I can't listen to this.
The positive things that Alexia brings to my life that may have existed before, but not much of it. What I would absolutely have to say, patience. It would have to be patience. It would have to be quick to hear and slow to speak.
Aaron allows me to be me, but then he's always bringing things back to me in a non-judgmental way about ways I can grow. You know what I mean? And that's just, I feel like he's really like a honest mirror, you know, of where I can go in my life.
I knew that Alexia was the one when I found myself actually growing from some of the areas in my life that needed more work. I knew that when I felt my life enhancing, that she was actually the one.
I can't say that there was a specific thing that happened. It was just that over time, I was so comfortable with him, and I could feel myself being able to not just be who I was, but to go somewhere farther that I haven't been before. So I felt like he was the person that could get me there.
I proposed to Alexia in St. Michael's, Maryland. We went to dinner. I'm not sure if she knew or not.
I didn't know whether or not he was going to. I kind of had a small sense, but I had been kind of waiting for it to happen, so I didn't want to get excited.
She's so detailed and organized and a little nosy, that sometimes it's kind of difficult slipping things past her. I was able to fortunately slip this past her.
So we went out to St. Michael's. We had wanted to go there for a long time to go to dinner because, you know, we love the water and stuff like that. And so we had dinner, we were talking and laughing or whatever, and he was like, why don't we go walk down this pier, which didn't like make me think anything because Aaron likes to explore and stuff like that.
We walked to where the boats were and kind of watched the people get on the boats and get off the boats and that type of thing.
And so we were walking down the pier and my sandal was needed to be tightened, so it was a bench. I was like, oh, let me sit on this bench real quick. And I sat down. As I was fixing my sandal, when I turned around, he was like,
will you marry me?
My emotions and reactions when Aaron asked me to marry him it was kind of surreal because it was a beautiful day and the atmosphere was just gorgeous. It was summertime and sun was out and there's water. And I was just really filled with joy. It was just like, you know, I felt like, okay, we're really about to do this. You know, it was a very, very exciting thing for me. Like I even was like, telling the manager at the restaurant, I was like, he proposed to me at your restaurant. Like we're special or something, like they would care. But, you know, it just felt like a moment in time.
As it relates to wedding planning, some of the differences that we had, and I would probably say rightfully so, some of the areas would be the alcohol. I may have wanted a top grade bar, and Alexia's position was, hey, if they want better liquor, they can buy it themselves.
During wedding planning, Aaron never looked at the actual budget numbers. I kept all the numbers. So he was always adding something. Like he would go and find something that I'd never heard of, like a magician. And add it, and I would like say that's great, but what else do you want to add?
The other issue may be vehicle costs in terms of the hours. I may have wanted a top scale or upscale vehicle to be transported in, and she kind of had to bring me back down to reality of the value of the cost of paying, I would say, $900,000 for a top grade car that you're only going to be using for an hour or two, which in hindsight makes a lot more sense.
I think the biggest thing is that he was constantly like seeking things to make this wedding like awesome, which is great, but it was constantly like adding, and I just started to feel like it has to end somewhere. Like at some point we have to stop adding stuff.
I'm actually looking forward to growth in all aspects of my life and our life combined, as well as our children's lives, and equally collecting our extended families together and participating in activities, working on to continue to work on our spiritual growth, our physical growth, and our health. Be conscientious of our health. Occasionally sneaking a donut or two, because it's really difficult for me making the transition of getting back in shape. It's like I have a 24-hour physical fitness instructor around. Can't eat anything that's unhealthy.
I'm looking forward to having a partner, just mostly because, you know, having a like-minded partner. Because I've enjoyed my family, my sisters. We have so much fun together. But it's nice to have a partner of the opposite sex where it's not just, about the love thing necessarily, but a true friendship and somebody you can bounce ideas off of, somebody you can just chill with, and, just all of that. Like having that always is just like, I'm really looking forward to that.